All right, back here on the Yaffee program. Now, you know I am your voice of reason. And you need me. Usually, but also today. I will try to be your voice of reason when it comes to this memorandum of understanding. But just kind of looking at the details so far, this is what I've gathered here. One, it's a memorandum of understanding without a real understanding. It's a deal to make a deal, so to speak. So it's hard to get excited about that. Two, it wasn't that long ago when President Trump said he wanted unconditional surrender. And I was saying, if we're going to negotiate with Iran, we should negotiate their terms of surrender. You look at this deal, this is not unconditional. There are a lot of conditions here to get even just a memorandum of understanding. And the only ones declaring victory are the Iranians. And I'll play that in a moment, but the Iranian regime is declaring victory. They are saying they won. They are saying their military has been successful. You want to talk about unconditional surrender? They're portraying, now, of course, the regime is evil and they're going to lie and all that stuff, but they're portraying that America is surrendering here. No, I don't think we're actually surrendering, but this is pretty close to that, I have to say. Do I think we're worse off than before the war? No, probably not. I mean, we did a lot of damage to their military apparatus. It's going to take a while for them to be able to rebuild a lot of that. And I think we did a lot of damage to their nuclear program. So it will take a long time for them to rebuild that. But we have set some bad precedents here. So I wanted victory. I wanted unconditional surrender. I wanted a deal to make sure they can never have a nuke, but also can't fund terrorists, but also can't build up their missile program. So far, that's not in this deal. So let me give you the details. Now, Trump obviously disagrees with me, disagrees with a lot of people, and resorted to name calling over this, which you would expect from him. But he said on Truth Social today, he said, these fools who think I haven't been tough enough on Iran when the stock market just hit a record high and oil prices are tumbling down are either jealous, bad people, or stupid. Make America great again. So one really doesn't have to do with the other, but all right. Now, he also said this. He said, oil is flowing. Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. The world will be safe. The stock markets are roaring. Jobs are at records. And prices are dropping affordability. Our country is strong, safe, and respected like never before. You're welcome. That's what he said on Truth Social. Do you agree with that? Do you agree with that? That we are going to be safe, that they will never have a nuclear weapon, that this means we're stronger and safer. Now, let me give you some of the details because they finally released the deal. He signed it last night. He didn't sign it with them. I guess they're going to sign digitally, from what I understand, but he did sign it last night. But here's some of the key provisions in the agreement. The Strait of Hormuz. Iran will facilitate the toll-free safe passage of commercial vessels for 60 days, while the U.S. begins to lift its naval blockade. Iran will hold discussions with Oman and other Gulf states to define future maritime administration. So it could be that Iran ends up charging fees and controlling the strait in the future. This is what I mean, because Dale was saying, well, the difference is we can always just bomb them again. We sent them a strong enough message. But it seems like the message that we sent here is that Iran can always use the Strait of Hormuz as leverage against the world. That now, anytime in the future, when we want to handle whatever the Iranian regime is doing, whatever evil nonsense they're up to now, that when we want to handle that, Iran is just going to say, we could close the strait again. And we have now set that precedent. That's not a good precedent. Here's another one. Military de-escalation. Both nations have agreed to an immediate and permanent termination of military operations and will refrain from threatening or using force against one another, while ensuring the territorial integrity of Lebanon. The U.S. will also reduce its military presence in the region to pre-war levels 30 days after the finalized treaty. So, I mean, we are leaving. Now, I just want you to know, this whole territorial integrity of Lebanon, Iran now has used this deal to legitimize Hezbollah. I want you to remember that. Hezbollah had been greatly beaten by Israel. There was more to do, but now Israel, under a deal here, is not really allowed to do anything to them. And we have now legitimized Iran in Lebanon through Hezbollah, through this. That's not a good trend either. Now, another part of this, nuclear constraints. Iran will maintain the status quo on its nuclear program and downblend existing stockpiles of enriched materials on site under the supervision of the IAEA, which I don't really trust them, okay. The good news is, yeah, it does seem like there are conditions against them having a nuclear weapon, so that is some good news a little bit here. Now, another part of it, sanctions and reconstruction relief. The U.S. will issue waivers to allow the export of Iranian oil. This is here, China. Here's some kudos for you for helping us out here. It continues on. It's provided a final date is solidified and complied with. The U.S. will collaborate with regional partners on a $300 billion economic reconstruction plan for Iran. So it's not coming through U.S. taxpayer dollars. That's the good news. It is coming from other countries in the region trying to step up and help the area. That's also good. That needs to be done. The problem with this is, let's say you make it sure that $300 billion actually goes to reconstruction. The problem with this is things are fungible. Well, it's kind of like when you deal with Planned Parenthood or something, and you can say, well, those taxpayer dollars are not going to abortion procedures. Yeah, but because you gave them a lot of money, that frees up other money that they're getting from other places to go to abortions. You see what I mean? This could free up other dollars coming from other places to go to terrorism now. That's the problem. And we're just basically rebuilding for them, even though the regime is still in place. That's kind of a problem. So those are kind of some of the main details here. So we can talk about the good news. The good news is oil prices will come down. This will help the economy in the short term. Possibly could help Republicans, but I'm not so sure now. I had said for a while, the American people were willing to take some of the economic pain if they believed it was worth it. If they believed we were really taking it to the enemy, preventing Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, that this was a worthy goal. Does it seem like it in the end for a lot of people? Or are people going to say, what was this for? What was this for? Now, I'm throwing that out there to voters, but I really do want to know what you think about this. So you can weigh in on our Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. Now, one person said this, I already got people weighing in, said, Trump has extended mercy, restraint. His eyes are on them. If they move backwards, hard bombing will come. Trust God. Trust the president. That was Don and Hartzell weighing in, okay? So that was sort of a trust the president here. Another person said, there is no reason for the naysayers to worry. We don't have to follow our part of any deal without congressional approval. Well, it looks like we're going to do this where Congress could block it. They don't have to approve it, but they could block it. But you have to get 2/3 of the votes to block, and that's probably not going to happen. Another person said, in regards to Iran, it seems we're forgetting that we now have a mechanism with which we can control them, whereas before we did not. What's that mechanism? Honestly, to me, it seems like they have a mechanism now to control us. They have figured out that they can just use the Strait of Hormuz against us and the world. That worked. Frankly, that's what worked. We probably would have done more military operations if it weren't for the problems in the Strait. in oil prices. So they now realize, oh, we don't need a nuke to threaten the world. We just threaten the Strait of Hormuz. And that can get the rest of the world to capitulate. Now, another person said, so Yaffee thinks the Iran people should suffer more by not allowing funds from other countries to rebuild. The Iranian people are going to suffer no matter what because the regime is still in place, and this regime has already proven they're just going to slaughter their own people. But the point I'm trying to make is when you just give them money to rebuild, but you don't have any conditions on other dollars that they're getting, when you're just handing out money, you could say, well, this goes to rebuilding. Yeah, but they're going to use other dollars now to terrorism. Well, what we should do is force them to use those dollars as well for rebuilding and helping their own people. That's kind of the point. So, well, like I said, a lot of people are going to disagree with me. I want to trust the president. By the way, speaking of President Trump, I'll play some cuts here. He had a press conference yesterday. Marco Rubio was there. He was trying to pump up this deal, how good it is, whatever. Go ahead if you can, Walker. Play Trump cut one. This was him at the G7 summit yesterday.
It's a memorandum of understanding. If it doesn't get done in 60 days, that's all right. We go back to bombing. I don't want to do that because it's so good. But we might have to. Nobody can get it. So it's not important that we do it quickly, but we could do it fairly quickly. When we have a chance, we'll do it. But in the meantime, we have cameras on every inch of it. Nobody can do it. And if they do, we'll hit them with Patriots. That's all. They have to behave themselves. If they're not behaving, they get hit again. They'll be hit again because we can do it very easily. I let them know. I said, look, if you don't adhere to the agreement, I don't want to do that, but we're going to bomb the hell out of you.
All right, so he is saying that will go back. I mean, good. I am glad he is saying that. That is what you have to say. That if they don't adhere to the agreement, we'll just bomb them again. But I got to say, I don't think anyone believes we will. Go ahead and play Trump cut 2.
We have their money. We have taken their money. It's not our money. It's their money. And we froze it. At a certain point in time, I guess we're going to have to give it back. If we didn't give it back, nobody would ever invest in the dollar again. If they're doing things right, if people want to invest, they can invest. But they had this $300 million fund. It's only $300 billion fund. It's only if they're doing things right. Remember this also. When you talk about billions of dollars, they've had much more than $1 trillion worth of damage done. They got a long way. We don't have to give them anything. But some people may want to invest. Like, what are you going to do? Say you can never, ever invest in a country? I mean, it's pretty tough. I don't mind being tough, but it's pretty crazy. I thought about it. I'm not the most perfect person. I said to Scott, why do we keep their money? What the hell are we giving it back to them? But, people from lots of nations, some nations we don't agree with, they have their money. The dollar's become very strong under me. And they don't want to have a little conflict with somebody and end up having the United States just take their money.
But that's the point. The point is to have leverage against them so they don't do something bad because they don't want us to take their money. Anyway, as I mentioned, U.S. Senator Katie Britt to support this. I'll play some cuts of her next, some other stuff as well. We'll get more of your text messages. We have the Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. We'll be back in a moment on the Yaffee program.
You're listening to Yaffee on WVNN.
What would you do if your online store converted 36% more shoppers? You could take 36% more vacation.
Another pina colada?
Yes, please.
Open a new retail location with 36% more square feet.
Fantastic.
Hire 36% more help.
You're hired and you're hired.
Shopify has the world's best converting checkout, up to 36% better than other e-commerce platforms. What you do with those extra sales is up to you. Switch to Shopify today at shopify.com/listen and get a $1 trial. Shopify.com/listen.
Square up.
Yo, what's going on, man? It's Andre Berto, two-time world champion. I fought. I loved it. I really wanted to do that sit down from a fighter's perspective. My G. What's going on? Caleb Platts. What's going on, my boy? Now you got a chance to really draw in your audience, to let them see who you are.
I've had to have a lot of internal talks to say, do I even want to carry on?
As fighters, we know what time it is. Like I think the time is now.
Square up.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform. Let's go.
We're back here on the Yaffee program. It is your woke detox center. That's right. You deal with a lot of woke nonsense in your life, at your workplace, wherever. You listen to me. It's a detox. You feel better, like a rehab. What can I say? You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. So we've been talking about the latest in Iran, the memorandum of understanding that I still don't really understand, the unconditional surrender that, well, has a lot of conditions. And the only side claiming victory is Iran. And in fact, I'm going to play a cut here from one of the Iranian negotiators, Ahmed Ghalibaf, I think is his name. Ghalibaf is how you say it. But he was on Iranian state TV yesterday, basically declaring victory. Can you play that cut for me, Walker, the Ghalibaf cut?
The difference between the negotiations now and the previous periods is that today the flag of victory is in the field, which both enemies and friends have admitted. Our people saw the glory of the armed forces too, even though they were against the well-equipped enemy.
God, it makes me so mad. It makes me so mad to hear that. It just makes me like, I know people think I'm just evil, warmonger. It's not. I just feel like we're going to have to go back eventually. There is nothing in my mind that suggests that this regime has somehow changed for the better or something. And in fact, someone that made that point, I played a lot of cuts of him recently, and there was someone who emailed me and was mad that I was playing these cuts. So I'm going to play more from this guy. Retired General Jack Keane was on Fox talking about this. Now, he is supportive of the president here, but warned about the Iranians, and I think he is right. Play Jack Keane, cut one.
And we have got to be part of the inspection team. Iran has so manipulated the IAEA through the years that I don't have a lot of faith in them, to be frank. And what it's got to be, it's got to be anywhere, anytime inspections. What the inspection protocol was about in the past is Iran defined where to inspect, when to inspect, and how long to inspect. And then when we had information through intelligence sources that we fed to the IAE and told them, look, there's a secret site over here that you should have access to because we believe something is being developed there in terms of enrichment or there's advanced centrifuges there or whatever it was. And in all those cases, that intelligence was likely very good. And guess what? Iran said no deal. That's not part of the protocol. So we have to be on the ground. It has to be driven by our and the Mossad's intelligence apparatus. And we go any place we want, when we want, for as long as we want. And if we can't do that, we don't have verification. And we have to have verification. This idea that somehow we may be dealing with a different regime and its behavior is something we're going to be able to adjust to and accommodate is an absolute absurdity.
I tend to agree. That somehow this is a more moderate regime that we can accommodate and adjust. I don't think so. Now, I had mentioned that U.S. Senator Katie Britt was supportive of Trump as well. Go on and play Katie Britt, cut one for me.
Yeah, look, first off, I think he's right. Anything he says that people in this body, particularly Democrats, want to do the opposite. But I certainly look forward to taking a look at this. I think the president said it. He'll send it over once he gets it. We've heard that what we're hearing in the media is not accurate. So it'll be good to understand from him what are the parameters. Look, in my opinion, this is 47 years too late. I am grateful for the president's leadership. I'm grateful that he's actually holding Iran accountable. It'll be good for us, though, to know what those are, and particularly with regards to nuclear ambitions or lack thereof from Iran. We've heard from the president from the very beginning that he will not allow Iran to enrich uranium, that they will never be able to get a nuclear weapon. Seeing those details, being able to put those in front of Congress will be important so we can be unified and making sure that we take down the greatest threat for terrorism across the globe, and that is Iran.
Yeah. So we'll talk more about this with Christopher Reed, by the way, in the next segment. Much more to get to on the show, so you're going to want to stay with me. Definitely have to talk to you right now about my good friends at Huntsville Men's Clinic. Guys, you got one life. It's too short for not nows, maybe laters, or tomorrows. If you're noticing issues with ED or low testosterone, it can affect your relationships, your confidence, and even your career. Give them a call, make an appointment. Powered by Men's Pro, Huntsville Men's Clinic, 256-368-0333. Or book online in under 30 seconds at HuntsvilleMen'sClinic.com. For every man in every season of life, let them know Yaffee sent you.
The Yaffee Program.
Square up.
Yo, what's going on, man? It's Andre Berto, two-time world champion. Today's guest, NFL legend, media mogul. What's up? Ocho Cinco. What's good, baby? We call them gym fighters. Yeah. These guys are in the gym, they can probably beat the hell out of any world champion you can think of. Yeah.
When that bell rang, and them lights on, you got 10, 15,000 watching. When I stepped in that ring, I think boxing is becoming great again.
Square up.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform. Let's go.
Full Send Golf, part of the Full Send podcast.
All right, the Full Send Golf channel. I was like, let's go to the range. Then fell in love with it.
This pod is about to be crazy. I don't even know what's going to happen.
Join the party on the golf course.
You guys know how much I really, really love golf.
All right, Salim, we got 2 putts to break 80 here.
Get it there, right?
You wouldn't want it any other way, brother.
These are the ones we practice.
Go, go, go.
Yeah!
Oh, let's go.
Let's go, 80s, bro. Yeah, even though it's from the Reds.
It's just like a boy's scrap.
Full Send Golf. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.